Hello, this is Vance, and this is Monday, November the 21st, 2016, and these are the CL trades for today using the slow hand method for price action. Well, I should talk a little bit about Friday. I put on a demonstration trade this morning early. I'll talk about the general area, how that worked out. But I was going to do an update on Friday afternoon, but as I alluded to or I mentioned this morning, if anyone you've seen my video, that we had a pretty bad snowstorm where I live, and it was really actually a blizzard, and it knocked out my internet. Now I don't know if that's the cause of the problem, but it knocked out my machine for my trading station, and that's where I do all the recording. And by the time it came back on, it was on Saturday, and I didn't get a chance to record it and do all that other stuff. So I just skipped it for Friday. So in case you're looking for a video, it wasn't there because I didn't get a chance to do it. Anyway, that was on Friday afternoon. Today was an up day, most of today. Some pretty interesting areas as far as trading was concerned, especially right off, right at 9 o'clock. As soon as the open, Eastern Standard Time, prices kind of went in a bit of a trade range, and a pretty good trading day because there's relatively easy trades to recognize as price trended up. So let me talk a little bit about a couple of these areas. I mean, we had the overnight, or yesterday was Sunday. See, price had moved up in the overnight and really kind of reversed from last Friday. Now, there's a couple of reasons why. I suspect we're getting to the end of the month. We're 10 days or 9 days from the end of November. OPEC's supposed to be meeting again. They're looking at perhaps there's been some rumors that quotas are going to be production freezes for the next 6 months. If OPEC can agree on that, that might be driving the market. Yet last week prices dipped pretty low, and it really looks like it's trying to push toward $50 a barrel. I know in Canada we've had some situations in Alberta where we also have drillers, or there's been big cutbacks in cities like Calgary and Edmonton because of the soft oil prices, and that province provides a lot of their energy revenue is way down for the year because of the soft oil prices. But that doesn't matter as far as commodities are concerned. We're looking at trading on momentum and trading on the daily movement of price. That's what we're most concerned about. But what I'm just alluding to is the big backdrop. I guess there's lots of expectation that prices will head up, and they're hoping it'll head up. I mean, there'll be, other countries like, places like China and India, they don't have a lot of their own oil. And so they're looking overseas or other places to get that oil. And even though the prices are depressed, there's only a finite amount of the stuff that's around. And it's highly sensitive geopolitical product, I suppose you can call it. It's valuable in certain areas. How do you move it? Let's talk about the trades. Let's talk about what happened in the overnight. I drew this kind of channel after the first couple of swings, put this bar out, this line up here, and then copied it and pulled it down. I have these initial channels because this was right at 8:30. Up until just before 8:15 minutes, we had this pretty strong run. We had a pullback. So you get pullback down here, second pullback down here. This is really a second entry long. Look at support down this area, looking at maybe a measured move up. But really it was like a price spiked up and kind of turned into a bit of a range. But this was really the first trade that I saw. This is just before, just at 9 o'clock. And as you can see, the price moved up, double topped up here, turned back down, a second entry long right here. Now, I marked this one, why I look at this as a second entry long and why I would take it here is because of the fact if you look at, it's a pretty strong bar, bounced right off this bottom. Your stop would be below these areas of what they would see as I would see support, and it made its way up to this top, and you have at least 15 ticks to get out to the top, and you can see what happened when the price got to here. It just did an about face and turned around, came back down to this area. Interestingly enough, down to this support area down here again. So price makes it, this is a second entry right here. Now, the reason I marked this one in lavender is because price has it comes down to this. Your entry is down to this area. Now, when I talk about second entry, first entry pulls back, second entry long off this bottom area right here. The challenge is you got room to get out to these double tops, but as you can see, it failed. price came up and it didn't quite make it. It got to this area, and if your entry was right at 47.58, you would have got to 47.67. So 9 ticks, and then you see it turned around. Now, had you held on to this right to here, you would have survived it. But the reason I marked this is that if price goes up this far and then turns around and then it starts to this area to retest this area, you might pull the trigger and get out of this trade. Now, my point is that if you held on to it, you can see price didn't go down to this area. It didn't get down below 47.46. And in fact, turned around. And that's what brings me to this next trade. Here we have a second entry. Second entry long right off of this one. So price is the new high of first entry, pulls back second entry right here. Now, I marked this one in blue. Well, the reason I like this one is that price bounces right where we have what I talked about support in this other area, right around the 47, let's call it 47.52, within 15 ticks of that. Price comes back down, and then you think it's going to at least go to this other area, or at least to meet the double tops or head up along this channel. And I say that because the overnight prices, the momentum looks like it's up. Looks like more of a trend up day, with maybe the resistance is going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 47.78. So this was a pretty decent trade. That's why I marked this one blue. And as you can see, it did work its way out. Again, your stop is below where the support is. You've got enough room to get out to the top, and it continued to head up in that direction. Again, price pulls back the first time, pulls back second time. Here's another second entry long right here. I marked it in blue. Again, the reason I marked this in blue, even though you don't have a lot of room to get to these tops, with this momentum, perhaps you're looking at a measured move. And the first move up pulls back twice, and then the second entry long. And as you can see, it blows right past there until we get to the other side. And again, all the way up to this area. Now, I marked this one in this trade here. We have a break of this trend line right here, a fairly significant break, tries to move up, and this is a second entry short. Why I marked this in lavender? It's way past. It's at the high. Is it running out of steam? It's a reversal, and again, as I was saying, if the momentum is generally up, this is really a counter trend trade, and that's why. But if someone who's an aggressive trade, maybe they're trading both sides. Personally, I never looked at that from that perspective. I just marked it because you could have taken this one. The problem is that it doesn't give you your 15 ticks. In fact, it starts really getting hung up, and it gets hung up in this area. You can see price starts to capitulate or starts to get stacked up, and if you add all these bars together, it really is like a doji. Now this comes to this area right here, because this was where I had the demonstration trade. Demonstration trade was down here with one contract, and the reason I took this one is because it really is kind of a second entry. You get the first pullback, second pullback, maybe even and price comes down here, dips below, but doesn't get back down this area, which is another area of support as it appears, because this is really, price is just really heading sideways. And if we have this momentum like I was talking about, use the EMA as a springboard to perhaps going with the extra 15, with your 15 ticks. And as a result, as you saw this one live, it took me longer to explain it than actually transpired, and price really zipped up here and got the 15 ticks very quickly. Later on, again, when it gets to the other side of this channel, you have a second entry short. Again, if you're looking at, you're trying to trade both sides, this isn't a bad setup. I mean, it looks like I said, is a pretty decent setup. But green, if you're trading counter trend, it's or trading in a reversal, because I don't know, a counter trend, at least from if this reversal pattern, may or may not. Depending on how you are more comfortable with trading that way. Myself, I'm not really like that. And I've said this in the past with past videos, I have a difficult time reversing. I usually, if I'm kind of more locked in, or whether trends are heading higher or lower, and so I can't really flip the switch that quickly. But there are traders that can. So I'm not taking that anything away from individuals that have that ability. I just don't. I've tried. Occasionally I do catch I can run it up and then kind of take it on the other side, but generally speaking, not for the day. Once I have the plan set up, once I'm thinking in a certain direction, I kind of get locked in, which is not necessarily a good thing, because then you can start seeing things that aren't there. In this case, price did head back down here. Now I marked this trade here. I marked this one as a long, even though it's within the channel. We didn't have a real clear break, but per trade in this section, price does make a new low and has a fairly strong, bull bar right here. And again, if you were to get in on this trade, we're down to below this area of support to the left-hand side. So I think it was worthwhile taking this particular trade. Only for that reason. Again, we see this individual, these bars kind of side by side. It does push down one more time and then kind of reverses out, makes its way up to this area, pulls back again, first pullback, second pullback. And so once it tries to do these things twice, right off the EMA, it moves its way up. And I'm looking for maybe another measured move. And right at this juncture, price heads up again, and there's a pretty strong move right to the other side of this this channel. Once price gets to this top area, now this is later in the day, so at 1 o'clock. You can see this is a second entry short here, whether you take these at this time. I wasn't trading, but you can see that once it got to the other side of this channel, there was some capitulation, price pulls back, and then for the rest of the day, it's kind of heading it down. Now, there are some areas that you could perhaps trade, but I think these are the biggest ones right here. I did another trade, another demonstration trade in here. I'm not going to post it today. I've already posted a lot of stuff for today, so it was a little bit too long, but that's pretty much it. Again, overall, it was mostly generally an up day, and you even take just one or two of these trades for the day, you'd probably be in pretty decent shape. So that's all I'm, as long as you're on the winning side of it. So that's it. If you have any questions, I appreciate people are starting to get the idea that I'm starting to broadcast or record some of these trades, these updates more regularly over the last week. I'm still kind of a little bit rusty about doing this, so I'm going to try to speed it up. I want to spend a lot of time on this. I don't want to spend more than 15-20 minutes, because once I to collate this information, to edit it a little bit so that I can make it flow smoother, cut out maybe a couple of ums and ahs, and post it on YouTube. It does take time. Keep these videos to a fairly short period of time, anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes. Anything longer than that, it's not really, I don't think it's really that tremendously beneficial. That's it for now. This is Vance. Bye for now.